Welcome back. So in this video we are going to talk about CSS animations, what they are, how we can use them, and what all can be done by using this CSS animation. And we're going to cover each and every topic from the basic, and you'll understand at the end of this video you'll be able to understand everything about CSS animation that is there to understand, and you can start using CSS animations. So let's dive right into it. So first of all, the question arises, what are CSS animations? So we'll just see a little bit of theory or a little bit of introduction about CSS animation. So CSS animations make it possible to do incredible things that make up our websites and our applications. You might have seen animations everywhere on a website or an application. So if I give you an example, quick example, when the website loads up, the time that something happens in a website, something different, and in an app, if you're using an app, a splash screen appears in front of your screen. When you click on a button, it does some kind of animation is always there. Okay, so that's what animation is all about. So it is a module of CSS. So CSS is divided into different modules, as we know, and different properties have different modules. So it is again a module of CSS that lets us animate the values of CSS properties over time, and we can do this by using keyframes. So what are keyframes? We'll see later on in this video. And the behavior of these animations can be controlled by different sub properties, which we will also see in this video. So there are actually sub properties that are there in animation that you can use to control the actual animation that you're giving to the property, that element that you want. Okay, so CSS animations make it possible to animate transitions from one style to another. Okay, now you can also do these animations by using JavaScript and jQuery. Earlier on in CSS, animations were not possible, but CSS3 makes animation possible. So now there are 3 to 5 key advantages of using animations using just CSS, not JavaScript and jQuery. So they are easy to use as you compare it with JavaScript, because if you don't know JavaScript, then still you can do this animations, right? You don't need to know animations to perform, you don't need to know JavaScript to perform these animations. Okay, second thing is they run properly as rendering is fast. So you're including the CSS file and the browser renders the CSS file. The less number of files that are there, I'm not saying that you should not use JavaScript, but as you're a beginner and you're learning CSS, so this might be a good thing, because then or whatever animations, whatever changes that you make, it'll be quick because there'll be no JavaScript file to load. Okay, and the third thing is the browser controls the animation, thus it improves the efficiency and the performance of the animation. So if you use with JavaScript we can control each and every aspect of animations if we add. If you don't know about it, then in CSS what happens is browser controls the animation, because browser renders the CSS file. Renders means it goes to the CSS file and then it works out everything that you have written. So that is what rendering is. Okay, so this was about the introduction. Now we'll see how we can start using these animations. Starting using animations, you can change as many CSS properties you want, as many CSS HTML elements you want using the CSS property. But first you need to know what all properties you can actually animate. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly open up Chrome, and I'm just going to show you how you can find out what properties are animatable and what properties cannot be animated. So what you have to do is you have to search for animatable. Okay, animatable CSS properties. You can see over here animatable CSS property, which just means that what all CSS properties you can animate. So this is the site developer.mozilla.org. So here you can find all the CSS properties that you can actually manipulate using CSS animation, and these are all the properties that you can change or add animations to. Okay, so I'm going to link this in the description. I'm going to mention this link in the description, so you can directly click on there and you can start using this. You can look out whatever properties that you want to add animations to, because sometimes what happens is you add animations to properties and it does not work. So there's a question in your mind that why it does not work. So maybe because that property is not animatable, that's why it won't work. So before animating any property, just try and check it out if it's animatable or not. Okay, so now moving on, I'll just go back to the VS Code that we had. To use CSS animation, you must specify some keyframes for animation. So now the question arises, what is a keyframe? So now we'll talk about keyframes. keyframe is basically a rule that will tell which style is to be applied at a particular time when the animation is in motion, or when the animation is running, what should happen, what all style should be changed or applied. And keyframe is basically something where you define your animation. Whatever rules you want to write, you can write it, and then according to the rules that you have written, changes will gradually occur from the current style to whichever style rules that you have specified. So I'm going to quickly show you how to write an animation, but before that, let's do some basic necessities. So I don't create any files earlier on, and I don't write any code, because if I write it like this, you guys will be able to pause the video, practice the code out yourself, and that will be a much better example than writing the code out itself earlier on. So we'll just write the boilerplate HTML code, and here I'll change the title to animation, and here what we'll do is we'll link our CSS file. So again, I create a different separate CSS file and a separate HTML file, because then it's easier to track our code. Code is readable, and if there's any errors, we can find it out easily. So you should never use the same CSS file. Also create a separate CSS file while you're practicing. So now what we'll do is the style sheet is empty and this is also empty. So let's just open it with live server, and what we'll do is we'll just create a few box. We'll actually create one box because I'm just going to show you the changes. So this is our HTML page right now. So what we'll do is we'll create a div with the name of box over here with a class of box, and we'll go into the style sheet, and now we'll select the universal selector, and here we'll remove the margin and the padding that we have earlier on. So margin will be 0, padding will be 0, and then we have box sizing. So the box sizing will be border box. Okay, so this is the normal style, and now what we'll do is we'll style the div with the name of box. So here first let's give it a width of 10 rem. Let's give it a height of 10 rem, but still it won't be visible now, because divs are not visible unless you give them height and width. And even after height and width, you should have a background color or a border color or some sort of thing that will distinguish it from the body section. So I'll just give it a background of red color. So you can also use background or background color, it does not matter. If you guys want to know how it works, so I've already created a video on background properties, all of them. So you can just watch it and you can get back to this video. If you have any doubts after this video also, you can watch that video on background properties. The link will be in the description. So now this is our box right now. Okay, so this is just a plain old box. We haven't done anything much. So now what we'll do is we'll see how we can add keyframes. Okay, so keyframes you have to add in your CSS file, and to add a keyframe, you have a keyword which is called as @keyframe. So you can see over here, we already have a suggestion in VS Code. This is the IntelliJ sense that provides us with all the auto code suggest. So we have keyframes over here. That's what we'll write, keyframes. And after that keyframes, you have to write the name of the animation. So you can give whatever name you want for the animation. So I'm just going to write animate. So now this will be the name of our animation, and after that we have to open up the curly braces. So this is the syntax for our keyframe. This is that every time it should be there always whenever you write. And inside this bracket, what we'll write is we'll write from, and after that background color that we have already over here is red. Okay, this is the color that we have, from red color to. So the second thing that we'll use is called as to, from and to. So from one place to another place you're traveling. So in the same way, in animation we have from and to. From one animation to from one property to, we have to move to other property. So I'll just write blue. Now I have added a keyframe over here. Okay, but still it won't work. Now if I go back to Chrome, you can see still there's no change. That is because now this is I just showed you how you can add a keyframe. So just keep the syntax in mind, because we'll be needing it when we move forward. But when we want to use the animation, that's a different thing altogether. Okay, so this is just creating an animation. Now using an animation is what we are going to see. This is how you create an animation using the keyframes keyword, and this is the name of animation. Okay, and we can use many more properties other than, many more values other than from and to. So we are also going to see those properties as well. Now let's move forward. We created an animation. Now is the time to link that animation to our element and making it even more fun and interactive, because that's what animations are supposed to be. Animations are supposed to be a fun and interactive way, which leads to more user interaction and the user spending more time on your website. Okay, so the first sub property in this animation crash course that we have is called as animation name. Now you can probably or obviously guess what we have to enter here. Now if you guessed it right, what we'll have to enter here is the name that we have specified in our keyframes, which is called as animate. So this is the name of our animation. So this is what we'll have to pass to our element. So currently our element is box, so this is our parent element. So this is what we'll pass when we add an animation property name to our box. Okay, so now let's add this. Now sometimes what might happen if you're typing this code out yourself, sometimes what happens is it does not work. I'm going to show you why it does not work. So because if you click on add right now and you write keyframes, you can see you have two of them. So you have this identifier one, which is what we use, we give the name, and then we have this separate keyframe. So sometimes if you type it out like this, and also if you don't add it, sometimes that might give a problem. I'm not saying it does, but if that's the problem, what you can easily do is you can just type it out keyframes and just click on enter over here. Okay, and in place of identifier, write the name of your function, and here you can write from. So we're going to change the background color again. So we'll just write background, and from red we'll go to, after from we'll write to again, and we'll change the background to blue. Okay, so this is what we have right now. And what we'll do here now, we have to add this animation using animation name, right? So we'll go into our box property and we'll write animation name. Now I'm going to show you something, and I want you to guess what or why it is not happening. There's a reason why it won't happen. I'm going to talk about that just soon, but the first property is called as animation name. So here we specify the name of the animation that we have given to the keyframe. So if I change this to something else, let's say box anim, so I'll also have to change this to box anim. Okay, so this is what we have. Now if I go back to Chrome, the animation should happen, but it's not happening. Even if I refresh it or do anything, the animation is not happening. That is because of the second property that we have. Sub property that we have is called as animation duration. So first let's go back to VS Code. Now animation duration, what it does is it defines how long the animation should run or how much time it should take to complete. So always so in animation duration, what it simply is that if you're running for some time, then there will be a specific amount of time that you'll be running for. So same we have in animation, we have a duration for which the animation should run. So always remember that you should put a value here, because if you leave it empty, like right now we have left it empty, so animation will not occur because the default value that we have is 0. Okay, you can see right now we have not added animation duration, so animation is not running at all. So always be sure to mention this property and the value should always be given. So what I'll do over here is I'll just quickly add animation duration. You can see animation duration, I'll add 2 seconds of animation duration. Now if I go back to Chrome, now if I refresh, you can see now it changes color to blue. And again, when the animation is done, it changes back to red. Okay, so again if I refresh, again you can see changes to blue, and then again instantly changes to red. So this is because of the duration property. If I increase the duration, the animation will run for a longer time. So now if I go back to Chrome, you can see if again I refresh, it will change a long time to change its color to blue. Okay, and then instantly it will change back to red. So this is what we have in animation duration. Now in previous one, in keyframe, what we did was we added to from and to. Okay, we added from and to here to add styles to them, but we have even better options than that. So we can also add percentage to tell which style will occur at what part of the animation. So if the animation is for 4 seconds, so we can divide it into 25%, 50%, 75% and 100%, which will be 1 second, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second and the 4th second. So we can even specify at each second what should happen using this percentage. Suppose now what I'll do is I'll just create a simple background change over here, so you can practice it out for yourself. So for 0%, when it's at 0%, what will happen is the background color will be red. That is the default color that we have. And when the animation is in 25%, so what will happen is, let's add background color to blue. Okay, and when it reaches 50%, let's talk about that. When we reach 50%, let's see what will happen. So here what we'll enter is, when we reach 50%, we'll add a background color of, let's say, what we can say, yellow. We'll select yellow. So we'll add a background color of yellow. And then when we have 75%, so when I run this animation, you guys will be amazed with what we can do with animations. Okay, so we'll change it to green. And the last one, that is 100%, let's pick a different color. Let's go with let's say orange, and we'll save it. Okay, so this is what we have at 0%. That is the default value, that is the constant state our box is in. So it's 0%, so the background color will be red, then we'll go to blue at 25%, then 50% will be yellow, then 75% will be green, and then 100% will be orange. So the 100% of what? So the 100% would be of this duration. So it's 4 seconds long, so the 0% will be 0 seconds, and 25% will be 1 second, 50% will be 2 seconds, 75% will be 3 seconds, and 100% will be 4 seconds. So that is what the 0, 25, 50, 75, 100 is. Okay, now if I go back to Chrome, now let's refresh this browser. Now you can see that our color changes to whatever values that we have given. So from red, blue, yellow, green and orange, and then again back to red. So this is a color changer that we have created using just CSS. So if you have a background that you constantly want to change the background color of, if you have some text over it, you can do it easily using this CSS animation. Now if I just increase the time here to 8 seconds from 4 seconds, you can see now the animation happens even more smoother and it takes its time. Rather than rushing forward, what it'll do is it'll take its time and then it'll display each and everything. Okay, so you can see how cool this animation is. Okay, so you can try this out, try this project out for yourself. You can see how it works. You can pause the video at any point of time you like, and you can try it out for yourself, because unless you practice it, you won't understand how the 0, 25 and each and every properties work. Okay, moving forward, the property that we have is called as animation delay. So in this one, what it specifies is the delay at the start of the animation. Okay, so I hope you guys understand what delay is. So late, it starts late. If you arrive late somewhere, it's called delay. If you hold up somewhere, it's called delay. So that delay is the time you have to wait before starting anything. So that is what animation delay is. So it simply means that a second or a percent of time that you have to wait before starting the animation itself. So it's pretty simple. I don't think I have to explain anything more. The name says it all. So I'll just mention the delay of 1 second. Now before the animation start, it will wait for 1 second. Now you can see it does not start instantly, it waits for 1 second. Now I'm not talking about all of these, I'm just talking about the starting of the application, animation. Okay, if I now change it to 3 seconds, you'll notice a drastic change. Okay, now if I refresh this, you can see it waits 3 seconds to change its color from the first part only. I'm not talking about the rest of them. I'm talking about the start of the animation. It works only at the start of the animation. Okay, so again, now it's red, it's back to 0%. So again, if I hit refresh, you can see it waits 3 seconds to start its animation. So this is what animation delay is all about. Moving on, another subproperty we have is called as animation iteration count. Now if you're from a coding background, you already know what iteration means. if you don't. Iteration simply means how many times a certain thing should happen. In this case, it specifies how many times the number of the animation should run, or the amount of time the animation should run. Now here, if I want to run the animation again, what I have to do is I have to hit Control R or refresh. Then after that, animation runs again and again. So you can enter numbers here from 0 to whichever number you want, but it cannot be negative. You can also use infinite, which means the animation will constantly keep on running. So let's go back to our code editor. So the name of the function, the subproperty, is called as, now I'll just remove this delay and I'll just make it minimum. So I'll just make it 0.3 seconds, and that's about it. So here, instead of seconds, you can also use milliseconds. These are the two units that are supported. So the first one is second and the second is millisecond. So you have to use either of two values, and always keep in mind that time cannot be in negative. It always has to be greater than 0, and it has to be positive. Okay, it cannot be 0 also. 0 means that it will not run, or there will be no delay or duration at all. So always keep that in mind. And the next that we're talking about is called as animation iteration count. And you can see we have these three values, which are, quite frankly, no one uses them most of the time. So we have infinite over here, which means the animation will keep on running again and again and again and again and again forever. You can also input number here. So now if I put 1 over here, this is the default value, because our animation is going to run one time. So if I refresh now, you can see our animation runs just once. Okay, and after that one time it stops. But now if I input over here 3, so now 3 times it will go through all of this animation, 3 times it will run. You can see it's already started running even before I clicked refresh. You can see it runs 3 times now. Okay, it already stopped. Now let's refresh again. This will be the first time that it is running. You can see it changes color, it follows the duration, the delay, everything. Now this will be the second time that is running. Okay, so it has already been 2 times, and then again the third time also. After this it will run. So you can see 3 times our animation has run without us having to refresh or click on this refresh button or Control R, anything at all. And I can also change this animation count to, let's say, infinite. Now it will run for infinite amount of time. So the thing that I was talking about earlier also, if you want to create a project or a landing page where you have a background, you can just input these animations. You can click on infinite, and whenever the user is on your landing page or your home screen, the animation will keep on running forever. So it will be a good project for you to practice. If you guys want to practice, if you guys want me to show you how it's done, how to create a website using CSS animation, mention it in the comment section. I'll create a project using just this CSS animations. Okay, but that was it about iteration count. So I hope you understood that it's just the amount of time the animations will run. Moving on to the next one. Next one is called as animation fill mode. It basically means what it does when the animation is not playing. So it is defined at the start of the animation and also at the end of the animation when animation has not yet started playing or it has completed, which basically means that when the animation is not running, this is the property that we use. So it has 4 values, and default value is none because we don't have a default value over here. Then we have forwards, backwards, and both. So we just see quickly what it is, but for that I'll have to create a separate div. So what I'll do is I'll just create a div with a class of box2, and here what we'll go and we'll just copy all of the styles from box1 and we'll just paste it over here. We'll change this name to box2 and we'll just remove all of this animation properties. Now if I go back to Chrome, so we have another box over here that is just lying there. So now we'll add a different set of keyframes to it. So I'll go over here and I'll add keyframes. Okay, and I'll change this name to, let's say, box2 anim. Okay, this is the name that I've given, and the width that we have from the normal width that we have, the regular width that we have given to the box is 10 rems. Okay, and now I'll just increase the width. I'm not going to do much because this is a simple property that I want to show you guys. So I'll change the width from 10 rem to let's say 30 or let's say 40 rems. Okay, and now if I go back to Chrome and if I refresh this, see I have not added duration yet over here, so I'll have to do that. So always keep that in mind. See, even I forget sometimes. And now I haven't even added this animation over here. So what I'll do is I'll just write animation name. Now I'm going to make it simple for you guys as we move forward, because there's a lot of more properties that we're going to see, and typing this out also is going to be a lot easier. So just bear with me till we reach the end of the course, because as this is for beginners, so I'll have to start from the scratch itself. Okay, and I cannot jump to advanced properties. Okay, so now what we have done is, you can see I hit refresh and now it changes its width in 4 seconds. But after the animation is done, it gets back to its original form, okay, which is here at the start. But with the help of this animation, fill mode, what we can do is, now in this box 2, I'll add animation fill mode, and here you can see we have this for both main properties. There's backwards, both, forwards, and none. So none is the default property because we don't have any value for this fill mode. But if we put forwards, and now if I save this code, move back to Chrome, now you can see when I refresh this, now when my animation is completed, it stops over here rather than going back to its original position, which specifies that it has to move forward and it has to stop forward when the animation ends. And if I change that forwards value to backwards, you can see now if I go back to Chrome, I refresh it again, you can see animation is going on, animation is completed, it go backwards. So this is forwards and backwards. And then the third value that we have is both. So with both, you can see both forward and backward modes are applied. So you can see if you use both of them are applied. Okay, you can see it is also applied at the backwards end and it is also applied at the forwards end. Okay, so these are the properties that we have in animation fill mode. I hope you guys understood it. If you did not, mention it in the comment section. I'll try to explain it to you once again in any simple terms if I can, but this is the simplest. So moving on, subproperty is called as animation direction. It specifies the direction of our animation, that is, it should be forwards or backwards, or it should be alternate. So we have 4 values over here also, and they are not similar to animation fill mode, don't get confused. So we have 4 values, which means normal, so it plays in the forward mode; reverse, which means it plays in the backward mode; alternate, which means it plays forward first and then it moves backwards; and the 4th value that we have is called as alternate reverse, which plays backward first and then it moves forward. So direction, what else can it mean? So we have the second box, right? So we'll just add animation direction. This is what it's called, animation direction. You can see over here direction, and you have 4 values: normal, reverse, alternate reverse, or alternate. So if I add normal over here and if you go back, you can see there's no change at all, the animation is same. But if I add a reverse, now let's see what happens when I add reverse. If I add reverse, now you can see the animation actually goes back. Okay, if I refresh it again, it starts from the front and it goes back. It does not start from here. If I refresh it, it goes to its final state and then it moves back from there. Okay, again if I refresh, you can see it goes back. Okay, and then we have alternate. So in alternate, what happens is it goes forward first and then it moves backwards. But if I refresh this again, you can see it moves forward first and then it goes backwards. So this is what happens in alternate. And then we also have alternate reverse. So you can try this out, all of these properties for yourself. It's quite simple. The moment you try it, it's when you'll understand it. If you don't keep on trying it, if you just keep on learning it, it's not worth it. You'll not be able to understand each and every function and everything at all. So I hope you guys understood. We have 4 values over here also. We have normal, which plays in the forward mode. We have reverse, which plays in the backward mode. We have alternate, which plays forward first and then backward. And then we also have alternate reverse, which works the same as reverse, but Only change is that it plays backward first and then it moves forwards. Okay, now I'm taking simple examples because it's easier to understand. If I'm taking very complex examples, the code will be very big and you'll not be able to understand. That's why I'm taking simple examples. Okay, moving on. This one is a little bit tricky for people to understand. It's quite easy if you've gotten a hang of it, if you've practiced it a lot, but if you're a beginner, this one might be tricky for you. If you have watched my previous videos on background properties and transition properties, you might know about this, you might have practiced this, so you might be familiar with this. But if you haven't watched, this concept might be new to you, or even if you have learned it from somewhere else, it might be a little bit tricky for you to understand at first, but if you practice, it's quite easy. So this is called as animation timing function. Okay, it specifies the speed curve of the animation and it has many values. You can even create your own values, but I'm going to talk about the 5 basic ones that we have. So the first one is ease. So rather than talking about it, what I'll do is I'll just write over here animation timing function, and then we have, you can see these are all the custom values that you can create for yourself. You can change the values around, and these are cubic visor in which you can input your own values. But these are the values that we're going to talk about, which is ease, ease in, ease in out, ease out, and then we have linear. Okay, so first I'll input ease. So ease, in ease what happens is the animation will start slow, then fast, and then it will end slow. But first I'll have to remove this animation direction. I hope you guys understood this one. So I'll just remove this, I'll save this code, and now if I refresh again, you can see in ease what happens is it starts slow, it gets fast in the middle, and then it ends slow. I hope you guys are able to notice the change. The animation is happening quite fast, so I'll just increase the duration a little bit more, from 4 seconds to 6 seconds or 8 seconds. Now the animation will happen slowly and gradually. So you can see it starts slow, gets fast, and then ends slow. So this is what ease is. Then linear is same value, same space, or the same speed of the animation will be followed. It will not be fast, slow, whatever in the middle. It will be same. You can see the same pace is being followed throughout the animation. Okay, then we have different values. So we have ease in, which is animation starts with a slow speed. Okay, and then you can notice the changes. It starts slow, suddenly it gets fast, and then it ends slow. Okay, so there's ease in, then there's ease out. Okay, so we have different values over here also. And one thing that is there is, again, to understand this better, there's this website. So I'll mention the link in the description, and you can see I've already bookmarked it for you guys, because I'm not going to be able to show you each and every how timing function works. So this is a website, CSS reference, which is a good website for all the documentation that you need for CSS. So here you can check out all of these animation that is there. So you have ease over here, you can see you have ease in, you have ease out. Okay, and you have all the timing function, that is a linear, step, start, and all of that. So if you want to check it out what it does, you can just click on play animations, and once you click on it, you can see how each of them start at the same time, end at the same start at the same position, end at the same position, but how their pace is. So again, if I click on stop, the animation will stop, and again if I click on play animation, you can see again it plays and then it stops at the same point. You can check it out for each and every one of them. I'll mention this link in the description. Be sure to check it out, because this is very helpful, this website, when you want to understand this animation timing functions. So if you guys understand what animation timing function does is, it tells you describe there are what the pace animation will follow throughout when the animation is being completed. Okay, moving on. There are a few other properties in animation as well. So if you just write out animation over here, you can see these are all the properties. We have covered all of them. There's this one left, which is called play state. So it just tells that the animation is paused or it's running. So it's helpful when you're using an hover state or something like that. So let me just show you this last property that is there in animation. So we have not missed out any. I thought we'll miss out one or two, but we haven't. So what happens is, I'll add here animation play state. Okay, and I'll write paused over here. Now if I go back to Chrome and I run this, whenever I hover, it will pause. Whenever I move out, it will start. Whenever I hover, it will pause. I hope you guys are able to understand. So this is how it works. Whenever I move out, it will run. Okay, if I stop it over here, it will stop. So this is pretty simple. It's pretty easy to understand. This is animation play state, which just means that where the animation will start. So now I guess I've covered all the important properties of animation. If you guys want a better documentation, you can always visit W3 schools or MDN shorthand, MDN websites and everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the last property that is there. I know I said this one was the last, but believe me, there's a simpler property that is there which you should all know and you should all use. So it's a shorthand property, which is the name animation itself. So we're going to talk about that now. Now we saw all those properties separately because we had to understand each and every one of them from the basic or from the scratch. But now we have covered all those properties and we have understood them rather than writing them separately, so we have seen 6 or 8 properties up till now. So rather than writing them separately, what we can do is we can just use something called as a shorthand. So separately we can use this animations shorthand and we can write all of these properties into just one. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just comment this code out, and here I'll just write this shorthand. It is called as animation, and even when I write animation on the right hand side, you can read shorthand property combines 6 of the animation properties values into one single property. Not all, just 6. So the 6 will be the name, duration, timing function, the delay, the iteration count, and the direction. Okay, the sequence is followed. Okay, the first we have name, then we have duration, then we have timing function, then we have delay, then we have iteration count, and then we have the direction. If you guys want, you can write it down. The sequence is the one that is followed every time when we write this animation shorthand. So the first thing that we write is the name of the animation. So the first name of our animation is box anim. So we'll just write box anim. The duration we give was 8s. After duration we have the timing function. So we did not give a timing function here, so we'll just leave that empty. After that we have the delay, or you know what, let's give the timing function as linear, so it will be same throughout, so we'll just keep it to linear. After that we have delay, so which is of 0.3 seconds, and after delay we have the iteration count which will be infinite, so that the animation keeps on running for the longest time. And then we have direction, so direction I'll just keep it as forwards. Okay, so we have written 1 2 3 4 5 6 animation properties into just one property. Okay, so we have covered all these 6 into this just one shorthand. Okay, so now if I go back to Chrome, you can, if I refresh now, you can see, okay, just a second, we haven't closed it, that's why there's an error coming over here. So we'll just close it over here, we'll just save it. Now if I go back to Chrome and refresh this, you can see it still works the same. Our box still works the same even when we have just used one single property. Okay, and the animation is also linear from the first one till the last one. Everything that we have used is linear. Okay, the timing function that we have used is linear and it goes on for infinite amount of time. Okay, so this is how you can use shorthand. You can also use shorthand in this box too as well. You can put all of these inside this animation and it works just the same. So if you guys want for reference, always keep in remember and write it down that this is the name, then we have duration, then we have the timing function, after that we write the delay, then we write the iteration count, and then we write the direction. Even if I remove this direction, it won't really matter. So if I remove this and save it, you can see it works still. It still works rather than its direction, sorry, rather than what we have, rather than directions, because you know why we use direction, right? But if you remove it in the second box, then it will work differently. And I can also remove any of the properties. Not compulsory to use all the 6 properties, you can just use the 2 of them also, it will also still work. If I use this 2, Let's go back. You can see it works, but it's not infinite. It will only work one time now, because the duration, or the what do we say, iteration count, we have not specified. So it will only work once, and after that it will stop. You can see. So it's not compulsory. You can use them in combination and it works just the fine. So that's all about animation properties in CSS. I hope you guys understood all the concepts. If you have any doubts, ask them in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you. You can also ping me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, where I post daily content related to web development, as I cannot post daily on YouTube, so I post every day on Instagram. You can follow me there. I have great tips and updates about web development there also. Ping me there. I can help you with all your doubts. If you want the source code, mention it in the comment section. I want you guys to like this video. I put too much efforts in this video, and I've seen 99% of the people, they just watch the video, they don't subscribe to my channel. So if you guys are new here, if you guys are watching my videos, I want you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's set a target. I want you guys to take this video to at least 100 likes. It's not much, guys, come on. We have 400 to 500 subscribers right now at this time, and you guys can reach that much 100 likes easily. So I want you guys to like this video, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell button, so that you get notified whenever I post a new video, and follow me on social media. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video.